Welcome to The Specialist View. I'm here with Chris from JCDecaux. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Parry. Yeah, I'm Chris Dooley, Head of Sustainable Media at JCDecaux UK.
And so, Chris, the job title kind of suggests it, but what's your specialism?
My specialism is sustainability in media. It's something that I've worked in for over 10 years now at different media owners, but currently at JCDecaux. And what I really see as the kind of specialism of my role is leading our commercial engagement on sustainability and helping turn, for our own sake, but also for our clients and advertisers, turning ESG and sustainability into true commercial advantage, helping them realise some of the benefits of our clients' own business models, and then helping them to turn those into really effective campaigns that are also sustainable by design, that can help bring about accelerated positive change in, socially or environmentally, whether that's through helping promote more sustainable products or brands or public awareness messages, that kind of thing.
Nice. So you're basically helping brands deliver performance across their profit goals, but also kind of their sustainable and ESG goals.
Yeah, exactly that. It's got to be both. You shouldn't have to sacrifice performance for sustainability. And we think, out of home justifiably is the perfect marriage of the two, because we've got great sustainability credentials, both as a channel and JCDecaux as a business owner, but we know we can also have a brilliant impact across, full funnel marketing metrics, no matter what the campaign is, what they're trying to achieve in terms of business outcomes. And you've got to have both, otherwise nobody would do it, would they?
So I think someone mentioned to me that they believed that out of home was the most kind of sustainable and most ethical, most positive for community media channel out there. Tell us why you would agree with that.
Well, absolutely would agree with that. It might have been me as well, but it's, I think it comes back to the business model. We have got a unique business model in the modern media landscape, in that we genuinely give back to communities socially, day in, day out, just through the fact that we share our revenue with our landlord partners. What that means in the UK is we work with dozens of public transport networks, cities, local authorities. We provide infrastructure, which is really, really important. We actually provide infrastructure that benefits those communities, whether it's as straightforward as a bus shelter or some of our new smart city technologies that we're starting to deploy across the country. So we create these facilities that are of benefit to people and might encourage more people to use public transport. But on the back of that, 46p in every pound of ad revenue we take in the UK is returned to communities through that unique out-of-home revenue share model, which is, like I said, an absolutely brilliant model for brands and advertisers to invest in. And crucially, it does what it needs them to do as well in terms of actual payback across their marketing objectives. Interesting.
Do you think enough brands and agencies are kind of aware of that 46p stat and kind of think about that in the, obviously, every brand we speak to varying degrees, cares about sustainability, they care about communities. But do you think they're aware of that enough and bring that into the planning of out-of-home, or planning of all media, so to say?
I think probably not. I think, as you can tell, we like to champion our own channel, of course, and we do like to remind people that not all channels are the same. We have, we're really proud of how brand safe out-of-home is, for instance. So, whether it's a brand's priority to be directly giving back through their marketing spend or not, fair enough, but they might want to care about whether their marketing that they invest in is actually brand safe for their message. Or it could be a decarbonisation challenge. All big businesses, quite rightly, are having to wrestle with some pretty ambitious net zero targets over the next couple of decades. That's going to extend to their media supply chain. Again, we're really, really proud of out-of-home's credentials as a one-to-many channel, responsibly managed and operated by most media owners, certainly JCDecaux included. So again, if brands are worried about decarbonising their media supply chain without having to give up any level of effectiveness, then we can absolutely help them do that too.
Okay. A couple of things you said there that I think are really interesting that I'd like to dive into a little bit more. Tell us about brand safety and tell us about how out-of-home is so reputable in that area.
Well, study after study has shown that out-of-home is a uniquely trusted medium. We're in public, we're consumed by people in public alongside their fellow citizens, their communities. In JCDecaux's case, we show campaigns, we display campaigns in really, really high quality environments, trusted environments, whether it's a Transport for London bus shelter or a Network Rail terminal. These, whether people or audiences recognise it or not, subconsciously people recognise that comes with a degree of validation, regulation that you might not get online on a digital channel. And that does play through into how audiences respond to that advertising, the trust that they place for it, seeing that it's such a public medium.
I'm slightly off piste here, but when I go travelling to different countries, you see a big difference between UK out of home and I guess the quality of the ads versus other countries. Have you seen a similar thing?
Yeah, possibly. I think we're quite lucky actually we are going a bit off piste. I don't profess to be a global expert, but I do know that the UK, certainly for JCDecaux, is an absolute leader in terms of digital out of home. We're quite lucky in that regard as an industry that we've benefited through early and rapid and ambitious digitisation, which I think has resulted in a media landscape where there's some brilliant media owners such as ourselves who are able to create these high quality brand platforms that advertisers need ultimately. But you get that in other countries as well.
No, I think more creatively actually. I'm thinking of some of the standard of ads I would see even in places like the US where they just don't seem to be up to the same standard, I don't think.
I think we are in a bit of a, I'm probably a bit biased, but I think we're starting to see some really great work in out of home in recent years. Obviously we're at the forefront of that, and in terms of actually getting to see it and share it and being exposed to it. But there's that sort of old adage of, remind me of some of the recent great digital ads you've seen, or some of the great creative out of home ads you've seen, and it's kind of a bit hard to compare, I think. But we've got, a really unique, brilliant creative canvas that brands can use and have used, over the years, in my case, for some great kind of sustainability activations as well, getting the public to take notice, think differently, act about different issues or products or ways of living.
So talk about that sustainability piece. So you've talked about actually how campaigns can change how the public interacts, but also talk to me about how out of home is just a very good sustainable channel and what you do to make it more sustainable.
Well, I touched on it earlier, but I think fundamentally it's that business model. The fact that we actually do give back is really, really important, and we provide infrastructure, which is really, really important, particularly if you think about public transport and being able to enable more people or encourage more people to take more journeys on public transport.
And is that something that you measure, like the uplift of getting more people to take those journeys?
Not directly, but obviously we work really closely with different transport operators. That's not necessarily their challenge to us. It's about how can we provide and operate and monetize the best kind of advertising network possible for their platform, but that then reinvests into those networks, which means they can create better facilities. Smarter facilities might be something as simple as a countdown timer on a bus shelter that just encourages more people to stay and wait and take more journeys, that kind of thing. I don't think it's something that we directly measure that I'm aware of. But what I will say is actually to answer the question probably a bit more fully, we are always conscious, as any kind of responsible business should be, about how operationally we can improve things year after year. So, we're powered by 100% renewable energy in the UK, have been since 2019. We're a zero waste to landfill business. We recycle all of our advertising materials. A couple of years ago, we found a brilliant new paper stock, so we now print on recycled paper as well as standard. So these are things that we're always kind of incrementally, from a fundamentally sustainable business model, we're always sort of challenging ourselves to how can we further reduce energy consumption? How can we become even more circular by design?
Nice. And then you've got the kind of really interesting creative things you can do, like CO2 eating ads and things like that as well, haven't you?
Yes, we can do that. We've done that around the world. We've seen that in the UK as well. I mean, again, part of what we do as a channel uniquely is we are a physical presence, so we can have these kind of physical interventions. So whether it's based on our own existing infrastructure, where we have, for example, increasing numbers of air pollution monitors on our screens around the country, because we've got these great digital assets by the side of busy roads, and we're able to monitor that on behalf of our landlord partners. That's a great service that we can offer. And there have been campaigns that tap into air pollution data and use these metrics in different ways, which is great, and it's unique, and it's something that only out of home can really do in that that really direct way.
Now, I'm not supposed to be biased, and obviously you very much, is part of your job to be biased towards out of home. But I did see a study where consumers were asked whether they would like to see an ad in this place or not. And obviously people said, I'd rather not have the ad in the middle of the TV programme I'm watching, I'd rather not see the digital banner. But actually, out of home in a lot of places, people actually would prefer to see that because their experience of travelling around the city is better because of it.
Good. I mean, look, we'd obviously like to see that and agree with that. And you know, there have sometimes been some challenges around sort of the proliferation of digital out of home, but our ethos at JCDecaux is all around fewer, better, enhancing cityscapes, becoming part of the fabric. We pay huge attention to the quality of our design and making sure that we are genuinely adding value, whether that's aesthetically, but also just to the way people experience and travel around cities. A good example of that, actually, what we call our communications hubs. So you might have seen some of these. There's one at the end of the road outside Angel Station, but these are almost like payphones for the 21st century in that they are fully funded by the advertising panel, the digital screen, but they also offer free Wi-Fi for the public. That's something that lots of cities are increasingly aware is a challenge for the digitally excluded, people who aren't, for whom it's a struggle to top up the data they need to live their lives. We have hundreds of free Wi-Fi points around the country. They offer wayfinding for the public. They offer defibrillators, literally life-saving street furniture that have been used. We operate those in partnership with a small charity called the Community Heartbeat Trust. 350 defibrillators on the streets of the UK, used dozens of times, potentially saving many lives along the way, which is incredible. And it's all funded by advertising and all made possible by our clients choosing to invest in out of home and those kind of benefits that people get.
I mean, I think that's phenomenal. Is somebody keeping a tally of how many lives might have been saved?
It's actually really confidential. It's quite difficult because you can't. That's once somebody's been treated, but we know when they're activated, and they need to be replaced as well. So yeah, we know how often those have been accessed and actually deployed over the 5 or so years that we've been running them. But we don't necessarily know the outcomes of the people they were deployed on. Quite rightly.
Quite rightly. But basically, the line there is entrepreneurial brands could save lives by spending money with JCDecaux.
Absolutely, yeah. Genuinely, I expect they already have.
Wow, amazing. So we've talked about the sustainability of out of home. Can you touch upon the kind of DEI element of out of home as well? Yeah,
look, we are really proud of our kind of super strength, if you like, in terms of diversity and inclusion as a channel in out of home. Firstly, we reach absolutely everyone. 90+% of the population will engage with out of home on any given week. That's far more than any other channel. So we know we reach everybody, but we also, because we're so well informed by data as a business, we know how to reach any kind of specific audience that your brands might want to, no matter how diverse or whatever the background might be. So we know how to target any kind of diverse audience that you like. We can then communicate with them in a really authentic way. We've got in-house, we've got what we call our Reach program, which we set up a few years ago, which was designed to help big brands access these incredible diverse audiences and activate against them for a number of reasons. It could just simply be to celebrate the full breadth of diversity across the UK. We've got a really proud tradition of helping brands do that. Or it could be simply to grow and drive revenue from new audiences by engaging with them, meeting them where they are, where those communities are, speaking to them literally in their language sometimes, and helping audiences grow, helping brands grow in new times by successfully engaging audiences. And of course, out of home, it's the most democratic medium as well. Any person from any background will be able to access and experience an out-of-home campaign in the same way as anyone else in their community. There's no expensive subscriptions required, no data required, there's no keyword blocking or any of these practices that happen on digital channels. It's there in public for everybody to see and consume in exactly the same way. Interesting. So when in TV, we quite often talk about shared viewing, but that's shared family viewing or shared household viewing. You're basically talking about shared community viewing, and actually, I guess that has a knock-on effect in terms of word of mouth and kind of trust on a kind of larger community level. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we see that, and trust is as I mentioned, trust is a really key strength of out of home as well. And these are sometimes communities that don't consume what you might call kind of mainstream media in the UK, and that's something that we've done, for public health campaigns for the NHS over the years when they want to try and target these kind of hard to reach pockets. We can absolutely do that through out of home.
And I guess hard to reach pockets, but also certain diseases impact different people from different backgrounds in different ways, right? So again, I guess out of home's a great way to reach those audiences.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that we've seen and worked on actively with charities, NHS as well over the years. Excellent.
And then what you said earlier is about the money going back to the local community, and that adds the positive impact again. So really nice kind of circular impact.
Definitely, yeah.
So you mentioned trust. So let's talk about the Specialist Works is built for entrepreneurial brands. Yes, trust. What are the kind of other key reasons why marketers at entrepreneurial brands should be using out of home?
Oh, there are many. I think fundamentally one of our sort of superpowers in this area is going back to trust, and also going back to the public nature of out of home means that we're able to give brands that maybe lots of their customers haven't heard of yet, that kind of public showcasing in a trusted environment. Not, some digital channels, you can see all sorts of weird and wonderful messages and you don't necessarily understand the background, the suitability of that brand. But I think there's something about being in public that just is inherently powerful for scaling brands. And then you've got the sheer scale of out of home. We can reach absolutely everyone. We can make brands look better and bigger than they might already currently be, to help give them that kind of perception of credibility and growth, even if they're relatively early on their journey. But of course, everything we do is powered by data as well. So we don't have to sacrifice any level of targeting. We can still be pretty clever and quite efficient in terms of targeting, where the right customers' audiences are going to be for that brand as well. So it's efficient, but it also has that brilliant scale and built-in trust and brand safety that I think are really useful for brands that are maybe not as familiar or as well established as others.
Completely agree. So we've got kind of really established brands that might be a market leader, and they would tend to kind of use the really premium, kind of really exclusive out-of-home sites that kind of everybody knows and loves to kind of show that market-leading nature. And then we might have more kind of challenger brands who know they've got to sacrifice and overcommit to be able to be more impactful to a certain audience. And obviously one of the ways you can sacrifice and overcommit is regionally, right? You can choose to actually look really big to people in the Northwest and sacrifice Yorkshire, or really big to Yorkshire and sacrifice the Southwest. So again, going back to that community thing, you can appear really big within that community.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, great for, on a practical level, great for effectiveness and tracking and trying new things, because in out of home you can literally try a new approach in a key city, see how it works, quite clearly see the difference in terms of customer base, engagement with your brand, test, learn, scale, repeat, grow, all of that. And yeah, it's something that we've got lots and lots of experience of. I'm really proud of the work we've done over the years, helping smaller brands become established and become a kind of a fixture, if you like, in people's lives.
And part of the journey, again, quite a common part of the journey for clients of ours, is they might have scaled their business through search and social. They're now in the point where they're spending millions, but they need to scale beyond kind of those channels into different areas as well. So again, effectiveness, regional testing, proving the value of out of home, whilst also being sustainable and diverse, kind of ticks lots of boxes.
Definitely.
So you were clearly very passionate about out of home. Give me a couple of examples of either your favourite sites or your favourite campaigns, or maybe a combination of both.
I'll go for campaigns first. I mean, so one that springs to mind, because it was the perfect marriage of message and delivery, and it was a multi-award winning campaign as well, I'm proud to say, was a campaign called the Greener Grid that we ran for OVO Energy. So we ran the campaign. It was a programmatic out-of-home campaign powered by an API trigger from the national grid. So it only ran at times where the local grid energy supply was more carbon efficient than average, and the campaign dialed up the more carbon efficient, the more renewables were on the grid at that time. So it only ran at the greenest times to use energy, and the copy itself referenced that, and it invited OVO customers to try and shift their energy usage to these greener times. And because we ran it using that particular trigger, we were able to quantify the many tons of carbon that were saved for OVO through the media delivery. OVO, for their part, were able to track brand uplift. They're also able to track their customers taking the power shift challenge and using more energy at these greener times. So again, many more tons of carbon that were avoided by OVO customers having seen the campaign. So really smart use of the latest technology to help deliver a campaign that proved to be really effective for the brand and having that kind of magic kind of positive impact environmentally as well.
And properly landing their positioning, right?
Yeah.
So it tells, it's helpful, it's useful, but it also signals to non-customers, this is the business that we are and this is what we care about.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So like I said, perfect marriage, medium and message.
Nice. And then do you have a favourite site?
A favourite site. I'm going to hedge my bets here, so I've got a favourite 500 sites and growing, which are our new network of LDN digital 6 sheets that you will have seen across London that we've literally installed on the streets over the last year. Huge, ultra-fast expansion of our digital footprint here in London. Brilliant canvas for brands. We are, definitely and proudly the biggest broadcast channel in London at the moment of any medium. And crucially as well, these screens are bigger than the previous models that you'll have seen roadside in the capital over the last decade. Big win for brands. They're brighter, the colours are crisper, and they use 20% less energy as well on average. So it's a big win for brands. It's a big win for the planet as well. And that sort of hopefully demonstrates our continued commitment in improving, every aspect of our business, both for our customers, but also, doing the right thing, the responsible thing environmentally as well.
Nice. So when you ask someone to say, pick your favourite kid, and they say, I can't, you've picked your favourite 500 rather than one. Okay, that is some sitting on the fence, or the out-format, should I say. So what inspired you to take on a career that kind of balances commercial outcomes with also sustainability and DEI?
I think I'm really lucky to get to do what I do, if you like. I think firstly, I'm a big believer in the potential, but also the necessity of business to help bring about, true positive change, both environmentally and socially. So to have a role where I get to work with some of the biggest brands in the world to help them do that is really exciting. And I think being able to do that in media is really exciting as well, because we all know, media plays such a big role in shaping the culture, shaping people's behaviour, people's buying habits. So again, being able to bring the two together to help shape positive outcomes for people and planet, but also driving genuine value back into my business. I think it's really exciting, quite a privilege as well.
That sounds like a great job. We are a B Corp. Yeah. And a big thing about being a B Corp is we are obviously a for-profit business, but also a for-profit business that believes businesses can also be a force for good. And I think actually, the more I learn, it shouldn't be perceived as being an offset. It's not like the more good you do, the less profit. It's actually about finding innovative solutions where you're delivering pounds and pence alongside kind of other ethical goals as well.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously B Corp's a brilliant accreditation to have, and it's a great testament to how the business is run actually. And yeah, quite rightly, you should be making a profit. That's the whole point. But if you can do it in a way that treads lightly or gives back, then that's absolutely fantastic. And there's so many opportunities for brands, businesses in whatever industry, whatever category, to do that, to maybe adjust kind of business as usual to create these positive outcomes. And consumers by and large want to live more sustainably. They might need some help. They might need products to be available at the right price point, or they might just need kind of trusted guidance, advice, inspiration on behaviour change from brands to do that. But absolutely, if you do it right, then there will be profit on the back of it.
Completely agree. On that note, thank you very much.
Thanks, Parry.